Hi everyone. In today's video, we're going to be talking about order of operations for Algebra 1. My name is Ryan, this is Math with RG, and thank you so much for checking out my video today. All right, let's dive into it. So, here we go. Order of operations. Well, what are they? Well, let's just do a quick recap before we jump into this first example. So, order of operations is the famous acronym PEMDAS. P-E-M-D-A-S. Okay, what does it mean? It means parentheses first. So if there are parentheses, then we do whatever is inside them first. But inside the parentheses, you have to still follow the order of operations. All right, so second is exponents. So again, if you have exponents, you need to do those before we do the next letter, which is multiplication. Now, we have multiplication and division, M and D. Now the M and D, they kind of go together, okay? Because here's the deal. If you have both multiplication and division, then you need to go left to right. All right, and then we have A with it, which is addition, and then S for subtraction. Now again, A and S, they go together, addition and subtraction. If you have both, I strongly advise you to go left to right, just so you don't make any mistakes. Okay. So here we go. Let's dive into it. We have number 19, 15 plus 3 squared minus 6. All right, so first I asked myself, are there any parentheses? No, there's not. So let's go to the next one, which is exponents. Yes, we do have an exponent. So let's do that first. So what I like to do is just bring everything down, straight down like this, and simplify accordingly. So can I simplify the 15? Well, we can't touch that yet. So we have 15 plus, we're doing the exponent first. So what is 3 squared? Well, that's 9. 3 squared means 3 times itself. So 3 times 3, and that's 9. And then we have minus 6. Okay, now I notice that we have a plus and a minus. So I am going to go left to right, just so in the future I keep everything in the same type of order and I don't make any mistakes. So I have 15 plus 9, that is 24. And then I have 24 minus 6, and that is 18. So there you have it. Now I have my answer. Quick side note, why do we have to have order of operations? Well, if we didn't have it, just imagine this. Let's say I was doing math a certain way, and that you at home were doing it a different way, right? A different order. And then somebody else that we know is doing it even a different way again, right? So if we had all these different ways, then we would have chaos throughout the world for all the math, so then it just wouldn't make sense. So that's why the order of operations is so important. You got to do it in that order. All right, and then another side note, quick tip on studying, how to study properly. Here's what I would advise, or at least this is just one of the best ways to do it. There's so many ways to do it. I would advise saying what you're doing out loud as you're doing it. Why is that? Well, it activates all your senses. So watch. Here we go. We have 8. So this is the next example, number 21. We have 8 times 4 minus 6 times 5. So I have multiplication and I have subtraction. So of course, we got to do multiplication first. So I'm going to say what I'm doing out loud as I'm doing it. Okay, so here's order of operations. I have to do multiplication first. So here it is, 8 times 4, that's 32. I can't do the subtraction yet So I do the next multiplication, which is 6 times 5. What is 6 times 5? That is 30. Okay, so when I say out loud what I'm doing as I'm writing it down, it activates all my senses. It activates my eyes. It activates my ears. It activates my speech, right? And muscle memory with my mouth moving. It activates the muscle memory in my hand with the touch. So all of these things allow me to process information faster, and I end up retaining it much more efficiently. Okay, so next we have 32 minus 30, and that is just 2. All right, let's go to the next example, number 23. Here we go. All right, so we have a plus on the top, we have an exponent on the top, we have an exponent on the bottom, we have a subtraction on the bottom, and then we have another exponent. But then to top that all off, we have a division, right? Because it's a fraction. Another quick side note, all fractions are division problems. So instead of saying the fraction 2/3, right, for example, I could say that actually says 2 divided by 3. Okay, so we got to do the order of operations. And here's the advice on this problem. You're going to do the fraction part, right, at the very end. So we're going to simplify the top, then we're going to simplify the bottom, and then we will do the fraction part, which is division. All right, so here we go. We have a exponent on the top, so we got to do that first. So we have 11 plus, what is 4 squared? Well, squared means times itself, so I have to do 4 times 4, and that is 16. All right, then on the bottom, we have 5 squared. That is 5 times 5, which is 25. Notice how I keep saying out loud what I'm doing as I'm writing it at the same time. Then we have minus, and then 4 squared again. So we have 4 times 4, and that is 16. Now, quick side note again. Notice how we have a 4 squared on top and a 4 squared on the bottom. Sometimes I get the question of, oh, well, Ryan, can't we just cancel that out? Right? Because they're both the same, 4 squared and 4 squared. Well, actually we can't, and the reason is because we have a addition on the top and a subtraction on the bottom. So if it had said like 11 times 4 squared and then 5 squared times 4 squared, then yes, I could cancel out the 4 squareds. But because it doesn't, then I can't cancel them out. Okay, so here we go. We're doing the top now. We have 11 plus 16. Okay, so that is, no, let's do a different color. Why not this one? 11 plus 16, so that is 27. And then we have 25 minus 16, right? And with subtraction, what I like to do is just go from 16 up to 25. So 16 to 20 is 4, and then 20 to 25 is 5, 4 and 5 is 9. So 25 minus 16 is 9. Okay, now we go back to that statement that I said earlier. This is a fraction, right? 27 over 9. All fractions are division problems. So we got to divide. What is 27 divided by 9? That is 3. Right, so in other words, how many 9s can fit inside of 27? 9, 18, 27. All right, so there's your final answer of 3. Okay, moving on. So, more order of operations. Here we go. So, now we're doing order of operations with evaluating something where you have to plug things in, right? So substitute in. Okay, so they're saying evaluate if A equals 4, B equals 3, and C equals 9. Okay, so in this question, number 25, we just have a B squared and a C. So that's all I need, right? The B is 3 and the C is 9. So here we go. It says 5 times B squared divided by C. So first I'm going to substitute in, right, the variables B and C. I'm going to substitute in the numbers that they are equal to. And this is a pro tip here, because you're going to be doing substituting throughout your math career. I highly recommend you always substitute exactly what it says with inside a parenthesis. So it says 5 and then times, I'm going to put a times because we're not using the letter anymore, so I need a times. And the B is 3, so I'm just going to put the B in the parenthesis for the substitution, and then I'm going to square that, and then I'm going to write divided by, use another parenthesis just to stay consistent, 9 for C. Okay, so now we got to go back to our order of operations. So what do we do first? Well, we have a multiplication, we have an exponent, and we have a division. What do we do first? Well, that would be the exponent in this case, right? So, even though I know you see parentheses, but inside the parentheses is just a number, right? So there's nothing for me to do with that number. I got to do what's on the outside of that. And we have an exponent. So let's do that first. So we have 5 times 3 squared. Well, what is 3 squared? Well, it means 3 times itself, so 3 times 3, and that is 9. And then we have divided by 9. Okay, now, I know I said earlier that if you have multiplication and division, I would advise you to go left to right. That really is just to not make any mistakes if you're dealing with a more complicated problem. Okay, but I'm going to show you both ways, and both ways you're going to get the answer. So here we go. We have 5 times 9 divided by 9. Let's just do the 5 times 9 first. So that is 45. And then it says divided by 9. Well, what is 45 divided by 9? Well, that is 5. Oh, look, we ended up right back at 5. So let's just do quickly, let's just say that you did the division first. So let's go back to this real quick. So if we had 5 times 9 divided by 9, I could say, oh, well, let's do the division first. So 5 times, what's 9 divided by 9? That's just 1. And then what's 5 times 1? Well, that's just 5. So you can see how it works out both times. Okay, so now we are doing order of operations word problem for Algebra 1. Here we go. This is number 27. So let's read it together. And look, I highly recommend that you read the question twice, okay? And then you write down some key words. So here we go. We're talking about ice cream. Ooh, boy, do I love ice cream. All right, so here we go. The cost of a 1 scoop sundae is $2.75. And the cost of a 2 scoop sundae is $4.25. Write and evaluate an expression to find the total cost of 3 1 scoop sundaes and 2 2 scoop sundaes. Okay, so we've got a lot going on here. I know I read that a bit slow. I'm going to read it one more time, a bit faster, right, just to really get it processing in my brain. So here we go. We have the cost of a 1 scoop sundae is $2.75, and the cost of a 2 scoop sundae is $4.25. Write and evaluate an expression to find the total cost of 3 1-scoop sundaes and 2 2-scoop sundaes. So here's what I'm noticing. We got the cost of a 1-scoop sundae, so I'm going to underline that. And the cost of a 2-scoop sundae, I'm going to underline that. Right there. Those are the key phrases right there. I know it's not very long, but it always helps to just get used to underlining phrases or key words. So let's dive right into it. So, we are going to write and evaluate an expression to find the total cost of 3 1-scoop sundaes, right? Well, so that's going to be 3 times $2.75, right? And 2 scoops. So and means plus, right? So write and evaluate an expression to find the total cost of 3 1-scoop sundaes and 2 scoop sundaes. All right, so 3 times $2.75 plus 2 times $4.25. All right, so again, this takes us back to order of operations. That's why they did this, right? So we have multiplication and we have plus, and then we have multiplication again. So we got to do the multiplication first. Here we go. What is 3 times 2.75? Well, I'm going to handwrite this for you guys, but I'm also just going to show you a quick trick. $2.75 is very close to just $3, right? So I'm just missing a quarter from each one of those, right? So if I do 3 times 3, that's $9. But then I'm missing a quarter 3 times. So if I do $9 minus 3/4, that would be 75 cents. Then this really comes down to $8.25. All right, so that's just a faster way you can do it in your head. All right, and then for this one, since we're multiplying times 2, and the 25 cents won't go over the dollar, it makes it a bit easier. So we have 2 times the $4, which would be $8. And then we have 2 times the 25 cents, which would be 50 cents. So $8.50. Okay. And if you want the handwritten version over here, we have the 2.75 times 3. So here we go. 3 times 5, that's 15. Carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21. Plus 1 is 22. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. So there's your 825. And then we have the 4.25 times 2. 2 times 5, that's your 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. And then 2 times 4 is 8. There's your 8.50, $8.50. All right. Great job on finishing today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, tell your friends and family. And if you want to dive deeper into chapter test work, you can check out my Skool platform, skool.com. The link will be in the bio below. And if you want more information on one-on-one tutoring, you can check out my website, rgtutors.com. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.